Have you ever called yourself a hot mess? You probably say it in a humorous, self-deprecating way, right? To describe your struggle to balance work, childcare, household tasks, family and social obligations, personal well-being. But beneath the ability to laugh at yourself, there's often very real feelings of overwhelm, stress, anxiety, helplessness. Trying to achieve work-life balance is a lot like navigating rush hour traffic. There's delays, there's detours. Sometimes you feel like you're moving, but you're just not getting any closer to your destination. Life doesn't have to be that way. I had a moment not that long ago. Life had all the usual chaos happening. My oldest son was home from college, plus my other 4 kids, and I could hear them all laughing in another room while I was wrapping up a virtual coaching session with 3 of my clients. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I've really got this. I was living the life I worked for. I was juggling a career, self-care, family, and the endless responsibilities that come with being a mom. And I couldn't believe how I felt, juggling those endless responsibilities, and I was still making time for the other things that mattered to me. I wasn't running on fumes. I was managing life with joy and purpose that I hadn't known before, and I was doing it without the overwhelm I once lived with. Without the overwhelm, right? I had finally found my rhythm. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. I had turned that corner from hot mess to hot mom, and I was no longer just surviving, I was thriving. Now, I've been guiding other women to do the same for about a decade now, but let me tell you, life wasn't always this way. I know firsthand how hard it is to feel stuck, overwhelmed, unbalanced, to feel like something is missing, even when it seems like you have it all. I've been on autopilot, pouring from an empty cup, constantly exhausted, and feeling like I wasn't enough at work or home, no matter what I did. I was a hot mess. And feeling so misaligned and lost internally affects every aspect of our external world. In the darkest year of my life, I went through a divorce. I filed for bankruptcy. I lost my home. And I had to close down 2 businesses that I owned. Everything that I had worked so hard for seemed to crumble all at once. I felt like I was drowning, unable to see a way out. Then one night, I found myself sitting in my car at the end of another long day, staring at the steering wheel, tears streaming down my face, and I looked up at the rearview mirror and I didn't recognize the person staring back at me. And in a moment that shook me to my core, I realized something. In all the years of giving and giving, I had forgotten about the most important person in my life, me. And by sacrificing my well-being for the sake of everyone else, no one was getting the best of me. They were all getting what was left of me. And in that instant, I made one of the most pivotal decisions of my life. I left my career as a casting director in the entertainment industry, something I had spent nearly 15 years building in Los Angeles, and made the monumental choice to move 3,000 miles across the country as a single mom with 3 kids in tow back to my hometown in South Jersey. Because really, who doesn't dream of trading Hollywood for the Jersey Shore? But it wasn't just about the physical move. It was a mental and emotional reset. Moving back meant restarting my life from scratch. But this time, I was determined to get hot from the inside out and find a way to be personally fulfilled, present for my kids, and financially independent. But how could those 3 things possibly coexist? How could I balance it all without sacrificing one for another? The answer sent me down a path I wasn't expecting. The answer was, I can't. We can't balance it all because work-life balance is a myth. After over 5,000 hours working with women one-on-one, I uncovered a fundamental truth. What was holding them back and previously holding me back wasn't a lack of effort, but the illusion that balance is the goal. The more we try to balance, the more the scales tip. But there's hope. because we don't need balance. We need harmony. Balance says all aspects of life should be equal. Harmony says all aspects of life should flow together in a way that feels right for you. Some days work takes more energy, some days family, and some days you purposefully take a moment for yourself. Imagine that. And real harmony isn't something that happens to us. It is something we create from within through mindset, self-care, and retraining our brain. Now, this realization was empowering, but also meant having to take responsibility for my habits and choices. Having to take responsibility for my habits and choices. We can't wait for external circumstances to change. The work starts inside us. Here's the good news. Science proves we're capable of it. When I embarked on my journey from hot mess to hot mom, I knew that real lasting change required more than surface level advice, like manage your time better, say no more often, set more boundaries. At one point, I was so overwhelmed, I convinced myself buying a new planner would solve my entire life. Like, this one has stickers. This is the one that's gonna fix me. Spoiler alert, it did not. While helpful, those Band-Aid solutions don't address the deeper mindset shifts we need or the mental and emotional loads we carry. I wanted strategies rooted in science, ones that could truly reshape the way moms see their roles and challenge the idea that we have to do it all seamlessly. So I cultivated a growth mindset and learned how to rewire my brain. Science shows our brains aren't fixed. They're adaptable. They're adaptable. Okay, science shows our brains aren't fixed, they are adaptable. Think about this, right? We can retrain our minds to manage stress, make better decisions, and create the harmony we crave. It's called neuroplasticity, our brain's ability to form new pathways and reshape itself based on experience. Our abilities and intelligence can expand with effort and persistence. Basically, your brain is like a muscle. Okay? So be honest. How many of you think yours has been skipping leg day? Real lasting change isn't just possible. It's biological. Research from the Mayo Clinic confirms neuroplasticity is active throughout our lives. Even in adulthood, our brains can break old patterns and create healthier ways of thinking and responding. When we engage in intentional change, we're not just shifting habits. We are physically rewiring our brains. Repeated thoughts and behaviors strengthen neural pathways, while old, unused pathways fade away. And when this happens, we go from hot mess to hot mom, not by doing more, but by thinking differently. And I saw this transformation firsthand in the women I began working with, not just in myself. At one of the first retreats I hosted, I watched women let go of the illusion of balance and embrace harmony, where all aspects of life flow together rather than competing for attention. That's when real change happens. I used to call myself a hot mess. And for a long time, I thought that was just the reality of being a mom. But once I really understood how our brains can adapt, I realized being a hot mess is not an identity, it's a pattern, and patterns can be changed. Patterns can be changed. My friend Kelly saw one of my social media posts sharing my story. Within 3 weeks of applying the strategies, she let go of the myth she had to do it all. She retrained her brain to recognize that prioritizing what's important to her is not a limitation or a weakness, it's a strength. Maybe you're like my friend Maria. She admitted in my virtual coaching group that she struggled to say no at work, fearing she'd let others down. But when she learned how her brain could adapt, over time, she replaced guilt with confidence. I've now seen hundreds of women break free from patterns they once thought were permanent. When our hot mess selves cultivate this growth mindset, rooted in wellness and self-care, we actively stimulate neuroplasticity and can effectively create harmony between our work, life, and wellness. And the American Psychological Association confirms this harmony decreases stress, improves overall physical health, fosters better mental health, decreases burnout and depression, and leads to higher productivity, creativity, and satisfaction, ultimately transforming from the inside out the hot mess mom into her most empowered hot mom self. So how can you embark on this internal journey in real life right now? It starts with your inner compass. We all have one. It is that guiding force inside us that helps us navigate the journey by aligning our actions with what truly matters to us. Now, the problem is, most of us treat our inner compass like GPS we don't trust. We're like, rerouting? Nah, I'm just going to keep going in the wrong direction and see what happens. To help you start changing the way you navigate your days, I have a simple challenge for you. It's called the 24-hour harmony experiment. For the next 24 hours, I challenge you to replace the word balance with harmony in your thoughts, in your conversations, and how you move through your day. Instead of asking, how do I balance it all? Try asking, how do I create a flow that feels right for me? Pay attention to those moments you feel stretched thin, pulled in different directions, or stuck in the pressure of doing it all. And here's the most important part. Pause before reacting, before responding, before jumping into the next task. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what truly needs my focus right now? The pause is where the shift happens, where you stop running on autopilot and start making choices that bring more harmony into your days. Think of this as recalibrating your compass. Even small course corrections make a huge difference. And the more you practice making those intentional changes, your brain forms those new pathways, reinforcing those changes until they become your new normal. Once you stop striving for balance and start trusting your inner compass, you will realize you were never lost. You just needed to start navigating differently. By leveraging the science of the brain, embracing psychology's focus on mindset, and applying the principles of wellness and self-care, I began intentionally filling my own cup so it would overflow into everything I did and everyone I love. This allowed me to create a life of harmony, purpose, and empowerment where I'm now thriving as a woman, a mom, and a career-driven individual. I unleashed the human I knew I was capable of being. But the hot mess to hot mom journey is not just about personal fulfillment. When women replace the idea of balance with harmony, it is a ripple effect that uplifts everyone around them as they lead by example for their children, model resilience and possibility for their families, inspire future generations, and thrive as leaders in their homes, workplaces, and communities. I stand before you in this moment to empower you to trust your inner compass and start your journey today. Embrace the hot mess. Step into your potential and unleash your greatest hot mom self, not just for you, but for everyone you love. Hot mess to hot mom is not just a catchy phrase. It is a journey, a way of life.